All right, good morning, guys. Welcome to another Cars and Coffee podcast. Today, it's me, James, Gavin, and Andrew, who we call ADOP. So if you hear us say ADOP, that's what we call him.
Yeah. Hi.
Yeah. First thing we're going to talk about, James, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, so today we actually have a fun little questionnaire for everyone. We're going to do our favorite car from every decade. Now, we're starting in the 1960s. We're not doing anything before that, and we're going all the way up till basically 2019. A little more context before we get into that. Everyone else kind of has their own topics. I picked all supercars. I think everyone else kind of did their own thing. It's not to say that other cars aren't great, but I just decided to go with a full supercar list, just have everything feel kind of tied in. So we're going to start in 1960s and then go to the 70s. We're going to just start. So Andrew.
Alrighty. So my first pick is a Jaguar Classic, the Jaguar E-Type. Enzo Ferrari labeled it as the most beautiful car he's ever seen. And it was pretty impressive for its price. It went at 150 miles per hour in the 60s for like $5,000. That's quite a freaking car. And then it had a sub 7.0 to 60.
Wow. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So Enzo said it was his favorite looking car. Was that before or after Scuderia had already started producing?
I'm not sure. It's a very famous quote that he said, and a lot of Jaguar fans will bring it up all the time.
So I went with the Lamborghini Mira. It's kind of the original mid-engine supercar, just in all regards. Basically.
Okay. I mean, old Lambos, nice. 60s Lambos, that's pretty far back.
So Ferruccio Lamborghini, made tractors, and he totally he loved Ferraris, but he didn't like the unreliability of them, and so he wanted his own team to start creating Grand Touring cars. Well, the guys at the Lamborghini group were like, we want to make a race car. So they made the race car, and no one was making a mid-engine supercar for the road quite yet. So they made the P400. It's a 4-liter V12 that produces 345 horsepower. It is the first...
In the 60s?
In the 60s. It is the first supercar.
It's quite the car.
It is quite the car.
It's looker
beautiful.
too.
It's really beautiful. It even has eyelashes on the headlights. It's incredible. It is a beautiful looking car.
Yeah, it's a looker.
All right, for 60s, I put Aston Martin DB5. Just purely because of James Bond. Because...
Yeah, no, that Aston Martin really got their headway through that.
Such a beautiful car,
It is a beautiful car.
All right. I chose a 1965 Shelby Cobra.
Oh.
427 with the 7-liter naturally aspirated V8.
7 liters.
7 liters.
That is a huge...
7 liters. Yeah.
That's a huge...
410 horsepower, 480 pound-feet of torque. You had 0 to 60 in 4.2. Quarter mile in 12.4. Top speed 185.
A 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds in the 60s?
Yeah.
That's crazy. 4.2 now is fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did Ford start making cars?
And it's a 4-speed.
Like Ford Motor Company.
The Model T.
19th century.
19.
Okay.
I think 1902 was Model T area.
50 years to get to 4.2 seconds?
It wasn't made by Ford yet, wasn't it? It
No,
was made by
Carroll
No, I know.
Shelby,
I'm just saying since cars started to become a thing.
They
50
were
years.
becoming a thing in the 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That was
know.
like most people
The
had them.
Bentleys and the Rolls.
Yeah.
That's just impressive. I thought 60s were not that fast. I know they're fast, but I didn't know.
That's what's so impressive
Then
about
again,
these
we're
cars.
picking the fastest cars of that decade.
The most impressive cars of that decade.
All right, let's do 70s.
Yeah.
Alright, you want to see something impressive for the 70s? Porsche wins Le Mans with the 917. You want to know how fast it can go? Over 220 miles per hour. With a flat 12 engine. And 580 horsepower.
Yeah,
That's
an
a-
insane car. It was a Le Mans show.
It literally saved Porsche
Yeah.
from going under.
Is that the one that looks like the old Batmobile?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Steve McQueen drove it. Just such an iconic car.
Yeah, it's a beautiful car. I also went with a Porsche. I
Alright.
didn't go with quite a supercar. I went with more of a sports car for this one. I went with the 911 930 turbo.
Holy sh!
Okay.
It's a 3-liter flat 6 with a single turbo. and I like it because it had that like whale spoiler in the back that kind
Yeah,
of comes up, and then
that's
it had
so
those
classic.
flared wheel arches, and it was a 4-speed manual gearbox and it had 256 horsepower. But for being such a light car and such a early, it was truly what's to come for the 911. Like if you really think about like what it was about to be, like the 911 now is like almost perfected, and back then it was not quite perfected, but they're slowly. It was the start to something that was truly a good base model car.
For the 70s, I did the Porsche 930 911 Turbo. So I don't have to talk about it because you just said everything.
Yeah.
It's such a
It's
good
so
car. Nice
yeah.
looking.
I mean, it's truly like if I could pick a 911 from any era, that's like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
All right. I chose the 1970s Challenger RT
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
Some American muscle.
Uh-huh.
Alright.
with the Hemi 7-liter V8. Has to be 7-liter. 425 horsepower, 410 pound-feet, rear wheel, 4-speed manual, 5.80 to 60, 14.1 quarter mile
That's phenomenal.
at 146.
That's a phenomenal car for
Yeah.
like the muscle car era.
I want it. So
Yeah, RT's a beautiful specced out car. I mean, it truly is the first.
Lime green really
It was
sticks
the
out.
70s was really when like the muscle car era kind of wanted to peak, but then the oil crisis kind of happened, and there was like other things. that
Yeah,
were
it
going
started
on.
to. Yeah. Kind
It
of
kind of
gained.
gained
some
traction,
ground.
then died out, and then
Uh-huh.
came back in the late 80s, early 90s.
Alright. 80s. I went with another Porsche. The Porsche 959. Rally God. Super innovative for its time. All-wheel drive with 440 horsepower. And if you wanted to go fast off-road, this was the car back then. 197 mile per hour top speed. It was just otherworldly. Adaptive suspension. This thing was crazy for its time.
I had no choice but to pick this car. As soon as I knew the era and the date, I think everyone here who like is into supercars probably knows what this is. I went with the Ferrari F40.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
The
It
comp.
is, I did not do the Competizione. I did the street version. I
Street.
decided to go with a street car. It's a
Doesn't
2.9
matter.
liter. Yeah, it's a twin.
So
it's a
beautiful.
twin turbo. It's 2.9 liters. It's a V8, 478 horsepower, and it topped out at 201 miles an hour, which isn't as fast as your
Yeah.
70s rendition. But I mean, it was the final car that was designed by Enzo. Like it was the final car that he signed off on, looked at himself.
that's
And
cool.
then-
Like
yeah.
classic.
And it was constructed to be at like a go-kart weight. It was made from carbon fiber and aluminum, and it
Doesn't it have drawstrings
it
as
does,
a...
yeah, and it weighed 3,000 pounds, which is beyond
That's
light.
pretty light for
Yeah.
the 80s.
And then the racing version, the Competizione, won so many championships that year. It's truly a beautiful. It's the most beautiful Ferrari. It's kind of the definitive Ferrari in my opinion.
Okay,
I can
for
agree with
80s, this might surprise all of you, but I went with the DMC DeLorean because how can you not? It's a good looking car. The gold wing doors. Oh,
But wasn't it actually like pretty crappy
oh,
car?
horrible.
Yeah, they're,
horrible.
they're garbage.
Yeah, they're terrible cars.
Back to the Future.
I'll talk about this later in the podcast, but I got to go to a collection and he had a DeLorean there, and it was absolutely incredible to look at. Like it was,
He had a DeLorean?
Yes, he had a DeLorean. It was being rebuilt, so the doors were off, but it was the rest of the car was there.
It's all plastic though.
Yeah,
The whole interior is
99%
plastic.
of the car is plastic. I'll talk about the whole experience I had later.
You
but
didn't tell me that there was a DeLorean?
I wanted to surprise you, seeing an honest reaction. Of the podcast.
Oh, all right.
All right. I chose a 1988 Lamborghini Countach.
That's
The
amazing
Countach.
choice. I was
Alright.
so close to picking that.
Uh-huh. With 5.2 dual overhead cam, 48 valve V12. Okay. 420 horsepower.
Wow.
369 pound-feet. 13.7 quarter mile. And then the 0 to 60s, not one website would tell you the same answer. So I just kind of generalized it. It's between 4.2 and 5.2.
It's still phenomenal.
It's still fast, yeah. And then 182 top out.
Yeah.
It's pretty
No,
good.
The Countach, I feel like, other than the DMC in pop culture, but like the Countach in the car culture is like the definitive car of the 80s.
Yeah, it kinda stuck out the 80s, yeah.
it was kind of like when people go look at like retro wave 80s styling, it's the Countach.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's a great choice.
Alright, kicking off the 90s, I chose a Japanese icon, the RX-7 FD. rotary engine. Enough said.
Yeah, it's a beautiful car. The FD.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
FD.
But yeah, it's a great car. Love it.
Bad reliability, but who cares when
Yeah,
you're
who
looking
cares
that
if you're
sick?
just
Yeah, and they sound pretty amazing, and they're definitely
Throw a veil side on that.
pull some
Orange and black.
Tokyo Drift type
Mhm.
stuff. For the 90s, supercar, almost hypercar at this point, I went with the McLaren F1.
That's
So-
a contender for me.
I did.
Yeah.
So it's a 6.1 liter BMW V12, and it produces 671 horsepower, and it topped out at 240.1 miles an hour.
It's perhaps the best car of all time.
Mm-hmm. It was. It held the 240-mile record until 2005. So the car came out in the early 90s and then held that record for over a decade, which is incredible.
15 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
15
Jesus,
years.
dude.
It's quite the car.
Mhm. It was the first car to use a full carbon fiber monocoque chassis, like the whole thing carbon fiber, which is incredible. And it had that 3-seat layout, so the driver
Yeah.
was in the center and there was 2 people on the sides.
That'd be so weird. Imagine driving that, like sitting in the middle of the car.
Mm-hmm.
Jay Leno's black one. I think he was sitting. It was either Doug. Doug was sitting in the
Doug
passenger
Rivera.
seat, right? Looks so odd. It's just so odd, but it's just so cool because it makes you feel like you're the center of the attention.
Yeah.
You're the
Mhm,
driver.
You are the car.
What's really, really interesting is the reason that they decided to go with that straightforward decision is because even when you're sitting in a normal car, and people don't notice this anymore, but you're actually still slightly tilted. Like when you're looking at the pedals, you're still slightly tilted. So your legs are actually still slightly shifted.
Like
And-
into the middle.
And Gordon Murray didn't like that, so he decided that it'd be the best bet. Gordon Murray's the designer. He decided to put the car in the center and have the transmission on the side, and then have a center view, so it feels like you're in a race car. You're driving like you would be in a race car. And then the actual GTR, the racing version of the car, won Le Mans that year. So quite an impressive feat on McLaren's
You know, the
part.
engine bay kind of looks like a satellite.
Yeah, so the engine bay is wrapped in gold foil.
Yeah, it's gold. Yeah.
Why?
Because it's good for heat transfer.
Yeah, science. Okay, so I almost picked the McLaren F1, but I actually ended up picking the Ferrari F50.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's the successor to the F40.
Yeah, 4.7 liter engine, V12.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's a-
That's when
It's a
they
lot of
started to go
cylinders.
along with the Lamborghini-esque V12 decisions with the Diablo and
Now Aventador, or was Aventador.
soon to be whatever else.
Soon
is
to
coming.
be something else.
that new one.
It'll be sad when the Aventador, the V12 Lamborghinis die out, and we'll be having V6 Lamborghinis with the.
V6 hybrid.
Hybrids.
Hybrid.
So what was your pick for the 90s?
Oh, 1999 Nissan Skyline R34 GTR.
So Andrew and I were talking, and we prefer the R32. over
Yeah,
the
I like the R32 more.
No, I do too. But this just kind of it fit the.
It's more classic than
Yeah,
the 32,
yeah.
I would say. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's been in more media. But I don't think it's the better car in my opinion.
I mean, they have the same engine. This one weighs a little
Yeah.
more, so it's a little slower. But you got 280 horsepower, 293 pound-feet. It's all-wheel drive, 6-speed manual, 4.90 to 60, quarter mile in just over 12, and it tops out at 155. So it's not a bad car, but
By no means.
Yeah.
is
I
a
think
bad
it's
car.
a little bulky compared to the
Yeah.
32s and 33s.
Highly tunable as well.
It's a great choice.
It's a good project car.
It did
Yeah.
Oh,
give.
yeah.
If you could get a hold of it,
Nissan.
it's the best project car.
Yeah.
But getting a hold of it is
It's
In the
illegal
90s,
in
it's
the
illegal
States.
to get in the States.
Really?
Yeah.
For-
Yeah, so you have
How
to
many?
have
2 years?
Yeah, 2 more years. So the car has to be 25 years old to get imported to the U.S. And since it wasn't manufactured in the U.S., we don't get it.
Oh, so,
So
it'll be available soon.
it'll be
when it's
available
been
in-
25 years old.
2 or 3 years.
2 or 3 years.
Cool.
From now. So Japan has it. Canada has them. So people are driving them in Canada, and it makes me
There's
really
a few
depressed.
here.
There's a couple here. There are a couple people who managed to get past that rule as calling them collector pieces,
Mm-hmm.
and so they're in the U.S. as street legal cars. But
Like
there's not
Paul
that many.
Walker's is here.
Paul Walker's is here. There's one that was in a giveaway for some company that also had a midnight purple version of it.
Oh, midnight purple.
Mhm.
So yeah.
I like the blue. The classic
I like the blue,
GTR
too.
blue, yeah.
Blue and
So-
black. It's kind of what I'm.
So it's turn of the century.
Alright.
2000s.
Can they see the Ford GT up on your wall?
I would hope so. I'll move out just in case.
I chose the honoring the Ford legacy and their win at Le Mans, the Ford GT06, 5.4 liter V8. It was just a great way to honor the GT. It's a great car in itself as well. I mean, the interior is, but it was a pretty great car. Really honored it with also bringing modern technology to it.
Yeah.
I like the gated gearbox. The shifter.
Yeah.
The gates.
That looks really good. I went with a total complete opposite in all regards. So Bugatti in the 1990s had the EB110, which will, recognizing Ettore Bugatti and his work. But then Bugatti came back with the Veyron, and that's my pick. It is a quad turbo W16, so two V8s slapped together, and it produces 1,001 horsepower.
Dude, perfect.
Yeah, just a little smug wave. Hey, we can crank out one more. And it topped out at 253 miles per hour, so it was the one that beat the F1 in 2005. And it looks good. It's a little dated in a couple of regards with the headlights and stuff. It's like the big complaint I see with people, but I mean, to this day, like, they intentionally designed the interior so there wasn't any like gauges or like maps or like electronic systems. The car never looked dated. And of course, it's a pretty beautiful car.
I'm just not a fan of the vent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Vents
I
on the
never
back
liked
of
the
it, I
front
can't get
of
over
it. Yeah.
And if you see the wing when it lifts up, when you turn off the car and it lowers, it goes
Yeah, I don't like
way
that.
back down. It's
Why
right.
wouldn't it just
Lower itself back
smoothly
down?
do it?
It's because it's a dated car. But yeah, so what was your pick for?
Okay,
2000?
so I did the Lamborghini Gallardo
Okay.
mainly because it was the first Lamborghini I've ever seen. Because when I was little, I've always seen like pictures of Lamborghinis, but I've never seen one because those are like mythical cars. And then we went to like some like car thing as a family,
Yeah.
and I saw a Gallardo, and I was like, "This is the coolest thing ever." So it's just because like I have like an attachment to it.
Okay.
So I mean, it's 5.2 liter V10. It's not like it's a,
It's an entry level Lambo.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
what they
it's
built
just-
it for.
Yeah.
Although I have heard people say that they prefer over the Mercy in some ways, just because it's a little more reliable and
They
there's
just like it
less.
because it's manual too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Get it
gated.
in the gated manual.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lot easier to get a gated.
I like
manual
gated
tire.
manual.
I do too.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, and what was your
Alright.
pick for the thousands?
All right, I did the 2004 STI,
Okay.
2.5 liter flat horizontal four.
Who named that car?
Japanese people. 300 horsepower, 300 torque.
What does STI stand for?
Subaru Technica International.
Ah.
Yeah. All-wheel drive,
Okay.
6-speed manual, 4.8 0 to 60, and then just over 13 for quarter mile. And
Rally
144.
God.
It's an incredible
Uh-huh.
car. Okay, now closer to everyone's time right now. 2010 to 2019. What were your guys' picks?
Alright. I went with some brand new technology in the 918 Spider.
Ooh. Good choice.
400. Or, sorry. What was I even gonna say? Sorry. 2.60 to 62. 887 horsepower. And if you put it on a track against its competition, the LaFerrari and the P1, it's gonna win. And it was for the time, I think, when it came out, and like for a few years it was the fastest around the Nürburgring.
Yeah, it was for production cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That thing was it's so fast. It's
lightning
still
fast.
so fast.
I mean, it does the quarter mile in no time at all. Like,
And
so-
you can have like what? 12 miles of electric power.
Yeah. So it was a good attempt at the what's it called? Hybrid.
Hybrid
but
hypercar.
doesn't necessarily make it like a good hybrid, but it's a. I mean, didn't it get like 88 miles to the gallon though, or something?
I don't know.
It was what? No. So yeah, my pick was the Koenigsegg 1-1, which a little controversial in pick, but for those of you who do not know, we're looking at football.
Yeah, I had to let him know about something.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The Koenigsegg 1-1 was kind of its own demon in the area, where it just was blindingly fast, blindingly good at what it did,
Blindingly expensive.
blindingly expensive,
Almost all of these cars are
Yeah.
pretty expensive.
out of this world expensive, except for like what, the RX-7,
STI.
the E-Type, and the
And
STI.
the Porsche that I
Yeah,
think is
and-
roughly okay.
Yeah, they're a little more reasonable than the rest of them.
Yeah,
But
they're still like 70K now.
Yeah.
But the Koenigsegg 1-to-1, it was able to call 1-to-1 for a couple reasons. It was able to produce 1 megawatt of power from its engine, which is insane. It had a horsepower to weight ratio of 1-to-1. So its horsepower is equal to its weight. It was 1,360 kilograms, and it produced 1,360 horsepower.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
It is the lightest V8 ever built. It has it is almost full carbon fiber body. It is nearly indestructible with a hammer when you hit at it because it just bounces back. It doesn't crack. And it is really, really, really fast. 260 plus miles an hour. And
yeah, that's fast.
it is
Anything made by
track-
Koenigsegg is fast.
Yes. So that was my pick. It looks beautiful too. If people know what it looks like, it's that beautiful like curved windshield. It looks like you're in a pilot seat. I love it.
All right, I did the McLaren 570S.
Okay.
It just looks so good. Like I love McLarens, and it looks like it's not too busy. Like some McLarens have a lot going on, but this one it's simple. It's nice. It's a McLaren and a 3.8 liter V8. It's almost 600 horsepower. It's it's not anything compared to like the more recent McLarens.
So why did you pick that over something like the P1 or the Senna?
With a
Well,
650
I was considering the Senna too,
Speedtail.
but
Yeah, Speedtail LT.
yeah, that probably would have been better. Whatever.
765.
Just
I mean,
McLarens in
if
general.
you want to put it this way, the 570S is it's not.
It's the one you
entry-level.
could probably get
It's the one that
most
It's the most
realistic.
realistic one,
It's
yeah.
everyone's dream McLaren. So I
Mhm.
understand that.
Yes, like it's a lot. It's more reasonable, and that's why I like it more because it's like, I
Yeah,
can see
I
myself
guess.
driving that. But a
Yeah.
P1,
I mean, you can't see yourself driving any of those cars regularly, though.
no.
Yeah.
No.
I've seen people daily drive a 570.
That sounds like
For a year or so.
awful.
Yeah, and then
Until they have to get a new car.
Yeah,
Until it
that sounds
dies.
awful.
Alright. I picked the 2019 720S Spider.
Okay.
Okay. We got the 4-liter twin turbo V8.
Jesus.
710 horsepower.
Okay.
Slow.
568 pound-feet of torque. It is a rear-wheel drive. You got a seamless shift 7-speed, 2.7 0 to 60, just over 10 quarter mile, and a top speed of 212.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a fast car.
It is a
It's
fast
a good
car.
car.
I watched a video the other day, and it was someone showing the transmission like shifts on using like a reader for like to see how quick it shifts, and it couldn't identify how quick it was shifting. So like it's just a consistent keeps on going, so it's blindingly fast.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think those are pretty good picks. I think definitely there's a lot of Porsches, a lot of them.
A
Yeah.
lot of McLarens
Well,
Uh-huh.
Porsche is just like what you're
Classic.
getting
Mhm.
every time. Like for almost every Porsche model is a good one.
Yeah, you can't really go wrong. Even the ones that were obscure are starting to become more appreciated. Like what is it, the 944?
Turbo?
944 turbo.
It looks exactly like a older FC RX-7. That's what they based it off of.
Yeah, but that's even still now today. It was only you could get one for like 20 grand, and now they're going
Yeah.
back up. People are appreciating them more, realizing what you can
Well,
do.
it's
with
it's a pretty car actually. In my opinion, I thought it was always quite a looker.
them. Well, yeah.
All right,
Great
so
one.
I have a topic. So I was just thinking of what we could talk about, right?
Yeah.
And I came up with this question. I don't know why it came into my head. No clue. But if you could pick any car to be the next cop car that's not not like the Dodge or the Ford that are like classic cop
Yeah.
cars, what would it be that's like reasonable?
Outside of American cars, like
No, it doesn't like it can't be
It can be a Ford.
yes,
is
it
what
just
you're
can't be
saying.
the one everyone knows to be a cop car.
Mach E.
The Mach-E would be so
Dude, it would-
interesting.
I mean, that would
Mach-E,
haul.
yeah. Kia Stinger, I could see being a cop car.
Dude, the Kia Stinger, that thing's a actually super underrated car, honestly.
Yeah, but it has its ups and downs.
Stinger
The
GT.
interior kind of sucks.
What do you mean? It's pretty good.
It's nice, but they cheap out on a lot of stuff. The
It's
steering
Kia.
wheel doesn't look good. It cracks a lot. The whole interior is like shaky.
Yeah, but I guess you get what you pay for because it's cheaper than most of its competition.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think the Mach-E would be cool.
I think
That would be
Mach-E-
so
In like a
interesting.
cop like
Yeah.
wrap. That'd be cool.
Model Y.
Oh my
Why
Yeah,
would
I
it
could
too?
see
Dude.
Model Y.
The next cop cars are just Teslas and electric Mustangs.
You're
Yeah.
screwed. You won't be able to.
Yeah.
Outrun them. You would have to rely on tops.
And even then, they're getting
Yeah,
pretty
they're
quick.
getting pretty quick. Like Tesla Roadster, the new
Oh
Roadster.
my God.
250
You're
plus.
not outrunning that.
Yeah, I was thinking Tesla with my choice. I was thinking the Model Y, or even if you
Yeah.
wanted to do something.
I just don't
I
see
think
the
a 3 would even work.
affordability of
It would
it.
work even an S actually too. If you think like
Yeah.
the lowest end
I
S.
think that'd be a little hard to put like the cage.
Yeah,
or
but
like
they
a
would just have to
canine in
make
the
it
back.
more
they would just have to
affordable.
do
Yeah.
certain things to the car to make
I think the
I feel like
Mach-E
the Cybertruck, dude.
Oh my
That's
god.
actually a
That would
good
just be a
idea.
tank.
Because it's bulletproof already, isn't it? Like
Yeah,
basically
sort of.
It can
bulletproof.
stop
Yeah,
them.
kind of.
It could be bulletproof.
Yeah.
I
They
don't
just-
really
most
know.
cop cars actually have like embedded like bulletproof.
Yeah, bulletproof
material.
glass.
But
and
imagine
stuff.
just adding
Yeah, on top of
on
that.
top of what is already added on the
God.
side of the truck.
That would be so dangerous.
Imagine like pulling up to a crime scene and you see a cop getting shot at and it's just bouncing off his
Dude,
Cybertruck.
if you had a Cybertruck, imagine how intimidating. Like you're robbing a bank and you just, a Cybertruck would just go through
Dude
the
on
wall.
SWAT, dude on SWAT pulls out in the ATV.
Oh yeah. The ATV that comes with it.
SWAT, two little SWAT guys. on the TV.
Start chasing after on the ATVs. Get him on foot.
Oh, that would
I
be
got 50 miles, dude.
Calling
would-
in Elon for a drone strike or something.
Elon
Dude, that would
probably has
discourage
drones.
crime if they had Cybertrucks. Like,
It's
that'd be
low-key
horrible.
kind of dystopian though. It's something out of Cyberpunk. Just saying those things pull
Yeah.
up, beat you up.
You know what would be a good border patrol car?
Hmm.
Like a Bronco.
Yeah, Bronco or Jeep. That'd be awesome.
The new Broncos could be amazing.
Yeah.
For
I
border
wouldn't
patrol.
take a Jeep because that thing is not reliable.
We'll see how the Bronco does with the
Yeah,
engines.
yeah.
the EcoBoost engines.
What about that? We can
Oh,
use
Land
that
Rover Defender.
hybrid Jeep.
Land Rover Defender.
Hi,
The 4xe. Battery died and then the engine soon after.
Yeah,
dude. How about Priuses?
dude.
I saw a 600 horsepower Prius. Just saying.
Put camber
That was
on
a Cummins
Prius.
swap.
It was.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
that's why it was 600. There's a Cummins swap that has like a massive pipe coming out the back. Is that the one that Connor showed you with like the
Yeah.
camber and the wide
Just the
body
drift
kit?
through the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has Connor showed you guys that Z that is just like so low and it's like
Oh, yeah.
the huge
It was
wide
like
body?
he showed me this one. It was like it's a Z. It's like, oh no, what is it gonna scrape it on? And it's like, it's a leaf, and the leaf was like it's flat, but it hit the leaf on a straight, perfectly paved asphalt road, no rocks, no nothing. And this car was so low that the leaf that was flat, like this piece of paper, got hit, and it's like, why? Why would you ever want to lower a car that much?
Dude, I don't know.
So, for our next topic today, we're going to be doing kind of an interesting choice. So, Porsche has an SUV, Lamborghini has an SUV, seemingly, Aston Martin just...
Yeah,
another
SUV revolution
Oh, I saw
going
Aston
on.
Martins the other day.
Yeah, the DBX.
Uh-huh.
Ferrari has one now.
Wait,
It
really?
is the 2022
It's only a matter of time.
Ferrari Purosangue. And it looks a little weird.
Oh, it's a compact
It
sedan.
is a compact.
Okay,
sedan.
That kind of looks like a Porsche.
it
That
does.
looks like the Panamera.
Kind of looks like a Panamera and a
So,
Macan just had a
I'll get
child.
into some specs real quick. It starts at $350,000.
Oh my
Not worth it.
It also looks like a Model S, kind of.
It's very like round.
Yeah.
$300,000.
So we're
Or
not
50.
really sure what's going to be under the.
Whoa, my bad, dude.
Under the
We're
hood.
not really going to be sure what the transmission is, the performance, anything like that. But people are kind of starting to speculate. This is from Car and Driver's speculation. I always like to use their source. Their great.
Car and Driver is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people are saying it could be a turbocharged V8, very similar to the Urus, or
How much is a Urus?
I
around?
think they're around 250. Travis. But people are saying it could be a V12 option, or doing imagine an all-wheel drive system with a hybrid electrification or a 950 horsepower V12 hybrid.
See, that would make sense for charging $300,000.
Yeah.
If you're putting a
You would have
turbocharged
that.
V8,
Yeah.
there is no chance. I would just go with the Dodge Durango.
Or just
Or a Trackhawk.
literally anything else.
Trackhawk. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I can get that for 80.
It's going to be pretty interesting. It's going to compete with the Bentley Bentayga, the Urus, the Aston Martin DBX. I saw a Bentley Bentayga the other day. I got to sit in one. They're really nice.
They are nice.
They're really nice. Don't
It's
like
Bentley, man. Like,
Yeah.
But
they make their living off of their interior.
but it's going to be super
Cullinan.
interesting to see
Also
what
that.
the Purosang, I think that's the name of it, is going to do compared to everything else that's happening. I don't like the look of the front end. It just looks a little too, like, it ends too quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of just has like a little divide.
I mean, it looks
It's
nice.
odd.
I kind of like
It's
it.
a little
though.
odd.
I think it looks
like
nice.
it.
It's not worth
It's definitely
$350,000.
it's definitely not Ferrari's best design ever, but it's definitely not their worst.
I really don't think it's that bad. Like, you can tell it's a Ferrari. Like, it looks nice. Like, the front looks nice. It just, it doesn't look. The Ferrari symbol shouldn't
It
be on
looks
a
like-
SUV yet.
Looks like a Panamera.
Kind of a Macan.
I'm not sure where to put it. Like, it
So-
doesn't even look like an SUV. It looks like a mid-sized
It looks
sedan.
like a mid sedan, yeah.
I'm okay with them implementing a Ferrari into an SUV lineup, and the only reason I have that belief is because the SUV is saving companies that.
Yeah, every
Mhm.
car company has to have an SUV in
Yeah.
order to stay alive nowadays.
Even if it's a high-end SUV.
I mean,
Mhm.
Ford
this
doesn't even make passenger cars anymore.
Yeah, Ford doesn't make any other than the Fusion.
Yeah,
The Fusion.
Um,
Mustang.
and the Stang.
And the Mustang, yeah. But what's going to be really interesting to me is when these start to roll out, and like I'm curious because the last real like true company that hasn't a supercar company that hasn't put like an SUV together is McLaren.
Oh my
That would
god,
be-
that would be cool. I bet you they could make a cool
Oh, I
looking
mean,
one.
they're bankrupt too, so they might
They
need
might
to.
they might need an SUV.
Yeah.
soon. A reliable, well put together SUV. Is
None of these cars are as reliable.
No.
None of
They're
them.
not
are.
going to be... No.
No. Some of them will be better than others. The Urus shares the same platform as the Audis, so it's going to be somewhat reliable. no matter
I
what,
think the
but-
Urus will be fine.
Yeah, the
You're
Urus-
driving an Audi.
Same with the Bentley
and
the
a BMW.
The Bentley isn't meant to be pushed too hard. It's meant to be driven smoothly. It's got
Well,
a
it's
good
elegant.
suspension.
It's
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
a race
it's
car.
like you take your very wealthy family out to dinner in it.
100%. So I like the look of it. It's a beautiful looking car, but I'm just curious how the front end's gonna look, and then
What's under the hood that
Not-
constitutes $300,000?
$50,000. And the other thing too that's a good point to make is like, is this showing signs of the future to come with SUVs in the market? Seeing what McLaren could potentially do, seeing what Ferrari's gonna do, seeing what other companies are gonna implement in the future.
Sports cars are dying.
That is, yeah.
But mid-sized sedans and SUVs.
Nah, just SUVs. Mid-sized sedans are also going the
They're
way
going
of
away
the
too.
Dodo.
Really?
Yeah.
But we could talk about that for another podcast. I wanted to talk about this with all of you guys because I thought you guys would think this is super cool. Not going to share any names, nothing like that, but I got to view a supercar collection recently. I was invited there. I went with my...
Apparently he had a DeLorean that he didn't tell me about.
We'll get to that in a minute. I was able to go there with my family, and it was some family friends that we got to go with, and it's kind of in the middle of California, not really in a too specific location. Like, you would drive by and not think anything special about the area. He opens up the garage, and the first thing I see is a Carrera GT. It's an all-black Carrera GT, and there's a mechanic working on it, just doing some minor modifications to it. You know, it's
Making it safer.
probably right. He was telling me how scary the first gear is.
Yeah.
But it was kind of a jaw-dropping experience, and then as you start to look around, you start picking up more and more in the studio, like in the room. Like, there was more and more stuff. I was like, oh, that's that car. So I don't want to name every single car in the collection, but I'll go through my favorites. So there's the Carrera GT.
Yeah.
It was the first thing I
obviously.
saw. Beautiful car.
Mhm.
It was the second time I've ever seen one in person. It was the first time I ever got to get that close to one, look at the engine bay, sit in it. It was an
E10.
incredible experience. Then next to it, across the row, imagine this is like a diagonal row. Imagine this is about to happen. So the Carrera's in the center, and then on a diagonal row is a row of Ferraris. And it had a Ferrari 488, a Ferrari 458, a F430, a 360, and then a Testarossa. And then
you
another
really jumped through the
Testarossa.
years.
Yes, so the little bit of a gap there in years, but apparently he's searching for one other car, and then he already ordered his F8. It's custom.
Oh, he already ordered it.
Yes. So beautiful cars. First time I've ever actually gotten to sit in a Ferrari before. And I got to sit in the F430 and the 488. Oh my god, are they such a beautiful experience to sit in.
Are they comfy?
They're more comfy than you'd expect. You've sat in the Porsche before. 10 times more comfy than that. 10 times. I mean, that's not hard.
Yeah, I mean,
But,
it's not that comfy, but it's
but
still
it's
not.
it's the same comfort level as a daily driver, wholeheartedly. It is a nice car, beautiful leather, very soft, very well put together. Loved it, loved it, loved it. And the engine bays are absolutely well done. They look like pieces of art. And then there's the Testarossas. And
Why
those
didn't
things,
you get to sit in that?
I did not get to sit. One of them was on a
lift.
and then the other one was under the lift. So I didn't want to
You could
touch.
open the door.
I didn't want to touch anything with that car, especially since it's so old. I just didn't I didn't ask, and I didn't want to I only said yes to the cars he offered to let me sit in. That's basically what I should say. I didn't specifically say, hey, can I sit in the Carrera GT? But I had the opportunity to.
You sat in a Carrera GT.
Yeah. So
Lucky.
It was a pretty awesome experience, to say the least. And then we're going to do a little bit of a backtrack. So again, on the front, on the far left, he had 5 944s Porsches. And he was using them as donor cars for his 944 racing car. So he was doing engine modifications, he was pulling suspension parts from the
So he
other
took
ones.
5 of one car to make it into one. 5 cars to make it into one,
Yeah, so he basically bought
Mega
donor
car.
cars to make one true track car.
That's insane.
If you can do that, you've made it.
Yeah, he was incredible.
You
Just
made
having
it
a
if you can
private
afford a
mechanic.
Carrera
Yeah,
GT or any of these cars. You kind of made it.
It just one of
And
them.
then there was a 70s 911 930 turbo,
Nice.
all black with a with a
Nice.
fender flare kit and
Yeah.
a new wing. There was one car that was under a little cover, and I didn't see much of it. I got to see the wheels. I got to see some of the body pieces. Got to see some of the panels.
And
Saw
a
the
badge.
logo. I got to see the badge. It said DMC on it. It was gray, dark gray, same color as the one in the
They're all
movie.
dark gray.
Yeah, they're all
But
that silver.
that steel look.
Yeah.
But it was the DMC DeLorean.
I've
And he said he sold it. It's already sold.
well,
Saw that at
he
college.
better have sold it to me. I've seen 2 DeLoreans in my life.
That was the first time I've ever seen it.
Museum.
One was at Universal Studios in Florida because it was the Back to the Future car from the movie, and that was really cool. And you weren't supposed to touch it, but then there was some people sitting there answering questions, and he was talking to someone, so I reached 5 feet over and just touched it, just to say that I've touched it for no reason. And then I was in New York with my family, and a guy dressed like Doc Brown from the movie
Was driving
was
one.
was driving one, and it was modded to look like it too, and he was just driving around, and he got out of the car, and he was like, "What year is it?" It was so stupid, but it was so cool because he let me take a picture of the car and stuff, and it was cool, but
Hey, that's just fun.
yeah, I mean it was he was a weird dude, just weird New Yorker, but. I mean, it was so cool. I took a picture of the car, and I touched the one in Universal Studios, but all I've ever wanted to do is just sit in one. But
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's one at a museum here.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
Peterson Automotive Museum had one.
oh really?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
So when that opens back up, maybe you can.
I think
check
there's only
that out.
how many? There's
There's not that
7 from the movie. I know that. I think, but 7 of them that they used in the movie that look like the ones from the movie with all the gadgets and stuff on that. I'm gonna drive that to work one day. Just actually no, I don't. I would break it.
I
It
don't
would
know
just
if you'd
die.
get to work.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
So moving past the DeLorean,
Sorry.
because this is where it gets pretty cool, at least in my opinion.
It just did get pretty cool.
Yeah, well, here it gets
you
cooler.
really just hit climax at that point.
At first, I thought it was a Countach. First 2 minutes of looking at the car, my body just thought it was a Countach because I hadn't gotten
Okay.
close to it. Then I realized it was a Diablo SV,
Oh my god.
and I was like, "Oh my god!" I did not ask to sit in it. He did not offer. I looked at it, looked at the engine bay. Beautiful, beautiful car.
Just wanted to sit in it so
And
bad.
then to the left of it was a beautiful, silverish blue Aventador,
Oh,
and it was, oh my god, beautiful. I've seen Aventadors before, not quite like that one. He let me sit in it. I got to open
you open the door?
I got to open the scissor door, sit down inside it. There's a way to get into a Aventador that I didn't know. So the actual seat is about, you know, a normal size seat, but the space between the door and the seat is about this much.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. So you're supposed to sit in that first. Sit there on the
Sit in the gap?
Sit in the gap, sway your feet in, and then sway your
And then, like,
butt
hop onto it?
into the seat.
It's so weird.
You also have to watch your head the whole time when you're getting in that car.
'cause it's
I was maybe, you know, I'm not that tall. I'm 5'11", 5'10"-ish. And I'm getting in the car, and there's about this much space between my head. Anyone who's bigger than, like, 6 foot could not sit in that car for a long period of time. It was...
the neck.
And the view that you had in the car is so tiny. It is so
I feel like
narrow.
it'd be so hard to
If
drive.
any of you
Yeah,
have
I've
ever-
always wondered about that. And how do you back out with that thing, man?
I don't think you can. I was legitimately thinking
You have to
about
just
this.
get your buddy.
You can't see. You cannot see out of the back of the car.
Yeah.
You have to have some kind of
Yeah.
like rear view. And
If you don't have a camera.
I don't know if any
You're
of you know what
screwed.
this like, but you know the joke with like Camaros. It's like hard to see out of. I've sat in a Camaro. This is more hard to see out of than a Camaro.
I
I
mean,
would
yeah.
think so. That thing's so
Lamborghini,
low.
it's so flat that
So
basically,
little.
where my eye level was, this is about where the windshield started.
started? It
Like-
went up
like-
from here?
No, down from here.
Oh, okay.
So you kind of have to like move your head, and then the side, like since the way that the mirrors look and the way that the window looks, it's really a tight looking car, and it's like hard to get in and out of too. Like I had to work my way out of it. I had to like kind of stumble out of the car.
Parkour.
It was like parkour, yeah. And I felt really awkward getting out of this like Aventador in the most like unswan like possible way. I kind of stumbled out. And it was really awkward, but it was a beautiful, beautiful car. And it was this white interior, like an almond white interior.
Oh.
And it was this blue body. And, you know, I like looked behind me to like see. You can't see out of the rear view, so you have to turn around to like see anything. And I could see the V12 just sitting there, and it was beautiful.
Oh, that's so cool.
Beautiful experience.
I feel like, you know, driving a Lamborghini would always be so fun. You know, because
Oh,
people see-
I don't know. I
but-
would
I
be
don't know.
scared to drive
like,
that.
you've always wanted to, like, own a Lamborghini, like everyone has.
Own it, yeah.
everyone has at least wanted to at least sit or drive in one. I
Yes,
can
like,
guarantee
or
that.
like as a kid, you see, like, Lamborghini's the super car as, like, a little kid, because you don't know anything.
Well, it has the flash package.
Yeah,
So.
Yeah.
it has the flash. Yeah.
And it's like, but I've not, you know, you tell me this, it'd be really hard to drive that thing.
Yeah, no, it was. I was thinking about it, and always, and a naturally aspirated V12 sounds incredible on paper, but looking at how it felt like it would be driven, I did not get to start it up or touch anything like that. It
Yeah.
looks like a nightmare to drive.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
It's not a daily. I
So
don't
you
know.
should
I
probably
don't know.
just get the convertible.
I-
yeah.
Yeah.
Get a little more
The
visibility.
Roadster.
Back it up and
So
stand
he,
up.
he had the Roadster package, not the there's no
Oh.
convertible as far as
No, I know,
from
but that's
Roadster.
what I meant.
But they had the Roadster, so I think that maybe the reason that it was kind of tight, more tight than normally, is because it's a Roadster, because you're meant to unlatch it and just put it in the trunk. So part of me
Frunk.
feels like the front, yeah. Part of me feels like it's just meant to like, it's gonna be tighter, but like you can't fit it. If you wanted to track that car, you could not fit a helmet in there. Like I'm saying that right now. If you took off the top and put your helmet on, sure, go for it.
Yeah, then you die
cannot-
when you roll over.
Probably you cannot put a helmet on that car. Like that car is not meant to be tracked. You cannot put it on the track. Don't think it was meant to be tracked. It had
It's a
full,
flash
It
car.
had full forged carbon fiber interior, and then it was pretty much an insane experience. Last car on the list in this room that I got to experience was a Bugatti Veyron,
Oh.
and
Did you sit in it?
I did get to sit in it.
Oh.
Timeless piece. Scared to sit in it.
Horrifying.
The carpets were white, so I was
Wait.
so
Check
terrified.
He
your
make you
shoes.
wash your shoes.
No, he didn't care. Apparently, it's one of his like more daily cars.
Oh.
It had,
Oh yeah.
It's a
it had,
beater.
It had like 1,500 miles on it.
Oh yeah. 1,500 miles on my Bugatti.
My Bugatti.
He,
I
he was
swear.
talking to us about the 1,001 horsepower. He's never tried the speed key.
The what?
What?
So if you don't know
He's
this,
never used the speed key.
No. So if you don't know what it is,
Yeah.
a speed key is on a Bugatti. You have your normal key, but then if you wanted to reach the top speed, you have to. I have a second key that you switch on the car.
Where would he even do that though? Like
That's the thing. But like I thought, part of me was thinking like, you know, one day I would at least want to just put it in, just to like, you know.
So
what
you
I
need
mean?
both
yeah.
keys? Like
Yeah,
you
need
put
both
one to
keys.
like start
You need
the
to have your
ignition,
standard Volkswagen key that says Bugatti on it, and then the actual key.
and it's a different key,
It's a
and then
little
you put
tiny
it somewhere
circle.
else.
It's a normal
Cylindrical
looking
key.
key.
Yeah.
It basically unlocks the rest of the horsepower.
Yeah.
Demons have it too.
Yeah, demons have it too.
There's like
That's
a
so cool.
Black key, red
700
key.
or like 600 horsepower version, and then you
there's
can
an
go
800.
straight up to 800.
Yeah.
yeah.
Red and black.
But he started the car, just so that way we could see the wing pop up. But he started the car, and people always say that they sound like vacuums.
Mm-hmm.
I could understand that, but it was too loud for me to think about it.
Very loud
It was
vacuum.
the loudest vacuum I've ever heard in my life. It was so loud that I had to yell at the top of my
What
lungs.
type of vacuum noise? Are we talking Civic vacuum noise?
Like
Or-
VTEC noise or like a.
We're talking like imagine 4 turbos sucking in air at the exact
Oh,
same time.
Okay.
Okay. So a respectable.
It was a respectable
Vacuum.
vacuum.
What color was it? Fair.
It was Stradman's color.
It was purple.
No.
Oh.
Let me rephrase that. It was Stradman's original non-wrapped color. That black with the
Oh, black
silver.
with silver. Okay, yeah.
Beautiful coloring. And the car was so cool. And you could see the air just like huffing out of the W16.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
insane. And when he lifts up the spoiler, you can look in, and the exhaust is in there.
See the coils and
Yeah, you
everything.
can see the coils, and it's those exhausts don't look pretty. Like they're not meant to look pretty.
They have a bunch of heat,
transfer material.
Transferring, yeah.
instead of like the Rift exhausts that
a
have
bunch
that,
of
like.
casts.
Mhm. So all in all, beautiful car. Absolutely loved it. Great experience. But there you go. That was what I got to experience on that trip.
That's crazy.
He pulled up in a Bentley Bentayga.
This
They
guy's-
said Continental.
Did I?
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I meant
the first time
I meant
Continental.
Bentayga.
Oh.
He had a Continental.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah. But,
What does this guy do?
he works. But we know him through some opportunities. But yeah, that was
Mafia.
about it.
Okay, well, I mean that was fun. Thanks guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and 2010s best cars. James's story about the DeLorean he got to see, and all the other cars, whatever. We don't care about them.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
All right. Peace, guys.